9 a.m.
out in our area.
Right.
So please feel free to say something.
Well, thank you, Mayor Gibbons, and to all the members of the council. I and all the veterans appreciate your recognition. It's very important to the veterans because when we first came back from Vietnam, not everybody liked us. Well, thank you very much, and I'm so glad to be here.
Thank you. I would also like to take this opportunity to read a second proclamation. This proclamation is declaring the week of November 14th to 21st, 2021 as United Against Hate Week in the city of Campbell. The recommended action here is that the city council proclaim the week of November 14th to 21st as United Against Hate Week. United Against Hate Week is a call for 7 days of local civic action by people in every California community to stop the hate and implicit biases that are a dangerous threat to the safety and civility of our neighborhoods, towns, and cities. United Against Hate Week was created by civic leaders in direct response to the sharp rise in expressions of hate across every California community. And this call to action empowers local residents to take action in their communities and alter the course of this growing intolerance. The city of Campbell encourages all residents to post signs, host events, share stories, attend rallies, and connect with schools and neighborhood civic institutions. Nothing is too small because working united is what will defeat hate in all communities. Thank you. The next portion of our meeting is communications and petitions. There are no communications and petitions. We have the next segment, which is oral requests. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons wishing to address the city council on matters not on the agenda. Persons wishing to address the council are requested, but not required, to complete a speaker's card. Speakers are limited to 2 minutes. The law generally prohibits the council from discussion or taking action on such items. However, the council may instruct staff accordingly regarding oral requests. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests?
I do not have any signed up speakers, but there is one hand raised on our screen.
Okay, so help me, if you would, identify and ask the person to speak.
Raja Palella.
Welcome, Raja.
Hi, hear me?
Yes, we did hear you for a second there.
Mic check.
Yes, you're fine.
Okay. Hey, my name is Raja Pallela. The reason why I'm trying to bring the oral request is regarding the educational committee. I saw the last few meetings have been canceled. I tried to see what the educational committee does in terms of from the city's perspective so that I can get better understanding. I didn't see any information on the Campbell City website. The reason why I'm trying to bring that up is my daughter goes to CUSD. Like if we look at the elementary schools in CUSD, the CSI elementary, all the way from kindergarten to 7th grade, there is a wait list. Like the kindergarten, there is a 40 kids wait list. Whereas if you see the biggest elementary school in Campbell USD, which is the Capri Elementary School District, they are not full. And also they have more capacity to hold more classes, but based on what I talked to the staff at Capri Elementary, they are running below capacity because there are not many enrollees. So I'm trying to understand when CSI, I know CSI has implemented a new way of education and things. It used to be Campbell Middle School before, but they have changed a lot of stuff. And so there is a lot of demand for such schools like the CSI, like which is Campbell School of Innovation, whereas at Capri Elementary, and there is a wait list in CSI, but at Capri Elementary, you know, they have spots open even for the classes that are there, and they have more room to even have more classes. So I know this general plan update is coming, housing element is coming, so more houses needs to be put in terms of schools. So education is a key thing, right? So I wanted to understand from the city's perspective, how does the education work like? Because the school district is a different thing, different election. The city do anything about the kids that are in the city, their education things?
So thank you, Mr. Palella. I think we can respond to this briefly. The city council does not have any role whatsoever with the educational school districts, be it the Campbell Union School District or the Campbell Union High School District or the Moreland School District. The city has no legal responsibilities for the schools. We do work with the subcommittee to connect and speak and coordinate as much as we can, but we do not have a role in any of the decision-making. So it sounds as if you need to work directly with the school board.
My thing is about what does the city can have its sphere of influence on this school?
I'm sorry, I can't ask you to speak
Okay,
again.
sorry.
If that's okay, if you would like, you can call the city's city manager's office, and there may be a person there that can refer you to a more specific answer that you're looking for. And that number is 408-866-2125. Okay, thank you for asking, and I hope we can help you figure out the right resource. Okay, if there are no other speakers under oral requests, we will close the oral request portion and go to the mayor's announcements. And I would begin with mentioning the Campbell Veterans Memorial Foundation. It is hosting its annual Veterans Day ceremony honoring all veterans who have served on Thursday, November 11th, 9 a.m. here at City Hall on the Orchard Green. If you are a Vietnam veteran, please register at Brown Paper Tickets, that's all one word, brownpapertickets.com, in order to reserve a pin for the Vietnam veterans. This is a special occasion celebrating the era of the Vietnam War and veterans. Then to reconfirm the city of Los Gatos, I am hoping you will join with me in the town of Los Gatos for the United Against Hate Week on Sunday, November 14th, 2021 at 2 p.m. There is a walk that will begin at the Raymond J. Fisher Middle School located at 19195 Fisher Avenue, and it will end at the Town of Los Gatos Civic Center. That's Saturday, November 9th at 2 p.m. The Food and Drug Administration has authorized the use of the Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine for the prevention of COVID-19 to include children 5 through 11 years of age. The vaccine is administered as a 2-dose series. Please contact your primary healthcare provider for more information. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has cleared booster shots for eligible groups of 18 years and older. For the Moderna and Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccines, which then allows people the freedom to mix and match any of the 3 Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson vaccines as approved. Many doctors' offices and pharmacies are now offering COVID-19 boosters to the eligible groups. For location information or to schedule an appointment, please visit www.sccfreevax.org or your local pharmacy or your healthcare provider. A $1.25 billion bond has been issued for the Silicon Valley Clean Energy and East Bay Community Energy Joint Powers Authorities. These will contribute $10 million a year to the bottom line of Silicon Valley Clean Energy, allowing that to go back to our customers and into our customer programs. Silicon Valley Clean Energy announced that the construction has commenced on its first Rabbit Bush solar project. This project will consist of film modules, which will provide renewable energy storage. This project will contribute significantly to displacing greenhouse gas emissions while providing clean jobs here in California. To find out more, please visit www.svcleanenergy.org. This is all of your power money going to good purpose. The Metropolitan Transportation Commission, MTC, is the transportation planning, financing, and coordinating agency for the 9 counties San Francisco Bay Area. Guided by the input of more than 20,000 Bay Area residents and nearly 4 years of planning work, the MTC has adopted the final Plan Bay Area 2050. The Plan Bay Area connects the elements of housing, the economy, transportation, and the environment through strategies. This milestone makes Plan Bay Area 2050 the official regional long-range plan, charting a course for the Bay Area that is affordable, connected, diverse, healthy, and vibrant for all residents through 2050 and beyond. To find out more about the Plan Bay Area 2050, please visit planbayarea.org/final plan 2050. I'd also take a note that at the meeting where Plan 2050 was approved by a joint ABAG MTC meeting, I spoke on behalf of all the small cities, requesting that with the state initiating over 30 brand new housing laws that are implementable by January 1st, that it would be appropriate for the governor to offer a 1-year extension on the housing element. I am continuing to work on that, and I felt very strongly representing our Silicon Valley neighbors and Santa Clara Valley neighbors, as well as the 9 Bay Area County, that the cities are being put under an extensive amount of pressure with all the new legislation and trying to meet the deadlines with the impositions that have occurred over the last 2 years because of COVID. Next, this fall, West Valley Collections and Recycling will deliver kitchen pails to homes and multifamily complexes. During the week, residents may place selected food scraps in kitchen pails and then transfer them to their green containers as needed. To find out more, visit wvswma.org or westvalleyrecycles.com. The city's clerk's office is accepting applications for the Park and Recreation Commission. To find out more about this commission, please contact the city clerk's office at 408-866-2117 or visit the city's website, www.campbellca.gov/boards and commissions, all one word. The deadline to apply for this position is Monday, December 20th at 5 p.m. And that concludes the mayor's announcements. Thank you. We will now move to the consent calendar. All matters listed under consent calendar are considered by the city council to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussions of these items unless a request is made by a member of the city council, city staff, or a member of the public. Any person wishing to speak on any item on the consent calendar should be asked to have the item removed from the consent calendar prior to the time of the council vote to approve. If removed, the item will be discussed in the order in which it appears. And are there any items that the council, staff, or members of the public would like to remove from the consent calendar? I am requesting removal of item number 3, and I believe item number 6 has a desk item to be incorporated. Is there anyone wishing to remove anything? And we have nothing coming from the public. I would take a motion then to approve the consent calendar item 4, 5, 6 with the desk item 7, 8, and 9.
So moved.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Landry, a second.
Clarification, you said only 9, there's 10 is on here.
Sorry, I have a mark.
It's items 4 through 10.
Thank you for the clarification. Item 4
My
through
motion is 4 through 10.
10. Thank you for that.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Councilwoman Landry and a second by Councilmember Bybee. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Bybee,
Aye.
Councilwoman Landry,
Aye.
Councilmember Lopez,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Resnikoff, Mayor Gibbons.
Aye, thank you much. And I asked for item number 3, which is the minutes of the City Council study session of September 29th to be pulled. My request or recommendation is that the minutes didn't get reviewed by the Community Development Department. And it would be appropriate for the Community Development Department to approve or review and make sure everything that they understood to come out of the meeting was reflected in the meeting notes. So I would request that we postpone that and give staff an opportunity to review.
It doesn't need a motion then, right?
I don't think it needs a motion.
If the request is just to hold the minutes while we review, we can bring them back.
So I request to, I have a request that we hold the minutes. Okay. Okay. All right, thank you very much. And now we will go on. As soon as I can flip the page. To item number 11, which is the public hearing and introduction of ordinances. Members of the public may be allotted to up to 2 minutes to comment on any public hearing item. Applicants and appellants and their representatives may be allotted up to a total of 5 minutes for opening statements and up to a total of 3 minutes maximum for closing statements. Items requested or recommended for continuance are subject to the council's consent at this meeting. Item number 11. This is the ordinance to allow electronic filing of campaign disclosure statements and statements of economic interest. This is an ordinance which requires a roll call vote. Recommended action, it is recommended that the City Council introduce an ordinance adding Chapter 2.50 to the Campbell Municipal Code relating to allowing electronic filing of statements, reports, or forms required by Chapter 4 of the Political Reform Act, commencing with Section 84-100 to the Government Code and the Statement of Economic Interest Form 700. And we have a presentation by City Clerk Dusty Christopherson.
Thank you. Just a brief presentation. So an identified work plan for the city clerk's office for fiscal year 21-22 is to review and implement an electronic filing system for the Form 700 statements of economic interests, as well as possible implementation for all other campaign filing statement forms. In order to meet this goal, it is necessary for council to adopt an ordinance allowing for this electronic filing procedure and for recognizing those electronic filings as original documents for purposes of satisfying the filing requirements. Before you tonight is the first reading of that ordinance. In furtherance of meeting this work plan goal, the city clerk's office has reviewed the 2 systems available in this market and ultimately selected the Disclosure Doc software platform, which is owned and operated by Granicus. This is the same system that is used by the Fair Political Practices Commission, as well as the County of Santa Clara. Because the software platform is used by both the FPPC and the county, those who are required to file with those agencies will be able to file once in the city software, and through an electronic data transfer, their filings will be transferred automatically, effectively satisfying the filing requirements for those other agencies. It is important to note that there may be other agencies that council members continue to serve on, which may require their own original filings. Not all duplication of filing requirements can be satisfied through this electronic process. In addition to the Form 700 and campaign filing statements, the Disclosure Docs platform can also assist the city in managing the AB 1234 ethics training and AB 1825 sexual harassment prevention training requirements as well, helping the city clerk's office as well as the city as a whole realize some efficiencies in these filing requirements. City's clerk's office budget for fiscal year 21-22 includes adequate funding for year one of the 3-year contract period. It's the intention that years 2 and 3 funding will be included in the citywide shared IT pool, so no budget adjustment is being requested at this time.
Thank you. And we are now have questions from council. Does anyone have any questions? I see Councilmember Lopez.
Thank you. Generally, I'm very pleased with that. It seems like a fairly low cost, but it does show a modest increase each year. And so we're seeing what it would be for 3 years. Would it be expected to go up every year? And is that on a, can we foresee how much that increase would be?
Foreseeing the increase beyond year 3 would be a challenge.
Well, and what is it? I'm just curious what it's based on.
I think there's a modest increase of a couple $100 each year between one filing to the other, and it's going to kind of depend as well as how many filers we have in our system. So as the city grows or we get additional positions, they'll be added to the filing requirements, which could impact the fee as well. But they're fairly modest fees between year 1, 2, and 3. I can't say what would happen to year 4, but we can go back out at year 4 and search the market again.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none for the council, do we have any questions from the audience? Online, I don't see any hands raised. I will bring the public hearing back to the council for discussion. And do we have a discussion and or a motion? Councilmember Lopez?
Yeah, I'll just say I'm very pleased that we're doing this. I've been supportive of this. I think it's a best practice, and I think our community will appreciate the transparency. So, you know, really, I appreciate your proactive work on this and your offices. So I think it's a modest fee, actually a little bit less than I would have thought. So very glad that we're doing this.
And if there are no other questions, would Councilmember Lopez like to make a motion?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I move that we introduce an ordinance adding to allow electronic filing of campaign disclosure statements and statements of economic interest.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Councilmember Bybee with the second. May we have a roll call?
Clarification,
Sure.
he didn't read the actual recommended action, he read the title.
Yeah, I'll read. It is recommended. I move that the city council introduce an ordinance adding chapter 2.50 to the Campbell Municipal Code relating to allowing electronic filing of statements, reports, or forms required by chapter 4 of the Political Reform Act, commencing with section 84100 of the Government Code and statement of economic interest, form 700.
Thank you. Councilmember Bybee, thank you. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Bybee? Aye. Councilwoman Landry?
Aye.
Councilmember Lopez?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Resnikoff?
Aye.
Mayor Gibbons?
Aye. And the city clerk will read the ordinance.
This being an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Campbell, adding chapter 2.50 to the Campbell Municipal Code relating to allowing electronic filing of statements, reports, or forms required by chapter 4, the Political Reform Act, commencing with section 84100, the Government Code, and statement of economic interest, form 700.
May there have a motion to waive further reading?
I'll move.
Moved by Councilmember Bybee, seconded
Second.
by Councilwoman Landry. And may we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Bybee? Aye. Councilwoman Landry?
Aye.
Councilmember Lopez?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Resnikoff?
Aye.
Mayor Gibbons?
Aye, thank you very much. We now move to the portion of the meeting under new business. This is item 12, approve appointments to the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee for Measure O. The recommended action, it is recommended that the City Council approve the recommendation of the City Manager and Finance Director to appoint 7 applicants to the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee for Measure O, each for a 3-year term. The presentation is by Finance Director Fuentes.
Yes. Just a second here. All right. Good evening, council. It's been, I think, now about 2 years since I've been up front here. So it will be a adjustment again, but I will try to be brief and address either the council's or the public's questions. So we're here tonight to go through a recommended appointments to the Measure O Oversight Committee, and I will get into the report. So per the okay for a Measure O, then also the first issuance of the bonds in addition to the expenditure of the Measure O bond funds, we're now required to put in to place an oversight committee. There were a total of 7 people in Campbell who applied. They all applied by the September due date. We did a review each person who applied. They were deemed to hate the qualifications to be on the committee. They all appear able to do and to perform the key roles of the committee. There were at least one person who applied from each district. In some cases, there were 2 in districts, districts 1 and 2. I do want to take the time to thank the council for pushing out the award. I also would like to thank the clerk for telling people to apply. Upfront, I wasn't quite sure that we would get enough people to apply. Certainly, I thought it could be tough to get one person per district, but I'm really pleased. So I just want to give a kudos to the teamwork there. So again, they all appear well qualified. So we do recommend that all of the people who applied, that they be put on the oversight committee, that they be a full participants. But I'm also going to give a council a couple of alternatives that they also are able to choose from as well. So again, we are proposing that all of the people who applied, that they be a full oversight committee members. What this would do is there wouldn't be a alternate, but they would all be able to participate. Under options A, B, and C, it does show either 2, 1, or no alternates. So if a council were to choose either A, B, or C, we do recommend that the council at least chooses a B, so there's at least a one alternate person in case in case of full members that they aren't able to continue. So with that, I will go to the recommendation. And again, the key choices of whether or not to approve all of them to be a full, or to also do just up to 5, then either 1, 2, or no alternates. And with that, I will end and take any council questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Director Fuentes. Do we have
welcome.
questions from council? No questions? Thank you. And we will now open the public hearing. Do we have any comments from the public on this item?
Not on this item, Madam Mayor.
Okay, no one in the audience, no one online. Thank you. We will close the public hearing on this item and bring it back to council for discussion and or a motion.
I have comment.
Yes, please.
I want to thank staff and Will for putting this all together. I like the idea of having all 7 with 2 members at large. I think it's great that we had that many people apply. So, and I do agree with the thinking of if someone is unable to do the full 3 years, that there are members that we would still have a quorum, or you'd still have the 4 for the quorum.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Councilmember Lopez.
Yeah, I agree with Councilman Landry's comments, and I also just want to say I'm really blown away by the quality of the applicants. They all have a wealth of relevant experience, but come from a diversity of backgrounds, and I think our city will be well served. I thank them for their willingness to serve, and I'm also just pleased, like Councilman Landry said, that we had this many applicants and spread out over the city. I know it's sometimes a challenge to get that, but I'm really looking forward to working and I'm supportive of the staff recommendation.
Thank you. Councilmember Bybee?
Thank you. I want to thank the applicants for submitting their applications and being engaged in the community. I would prefer to have just a five-member committee, one from each district. I feel that using or appointing the seven-member committee with having two members from four members essentially in representing two districts is really not a fair representation, and there's a public perception, I think, that it would be unfair and inequitable. So I would be more inclined to leave it at a five-member committee and then appointing the two remaining applicants as alternate should one of the five members not be able to fulfill their term.
Will, would you put up the previous slide, number 3, I think, with your table?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. So Council Member Bybee, you're recommending option, let's see, option A would be the 5 full committee members and the alternates of 2. And staff was proposing staff recommendation of 7, all in all. Do we have any discussion? Councilwoman Landry and then Vice Mayor Resnikoff.
So in option A with the 2 alternates, would they be attending all of the meetings and not vote until such time as someone drops out?
Correct, yes.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Resnikoff.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm supportive of staff's recommendation. I think, given the length of the service here, we may not have the alternates willing to serve for a few years. Kind of as an alternate juror who may not be in on the decision. I think that, especially because the duplicates are in districts 1 and 2, I don't see a conflict in it. I don't think it's a conflict in a district, but if there was a district that had a conflict, it might be 3 where the project is, right? So that might be considered, why is it biased toward that district, but it's not. So I'm okay with the recommendation. I have a feeling over the period of time, we'll lose 1 or more people. We typically do. I think it's better to have those 2 people having been there and step in. I just have a feeling, if you think you're an alternate, are you going to attend for 3 years just in case? I have a feeling the answer is no. So I'll be happy to support the staff recommendation as is.
I'd offer, I kind of went back and forth before knowing what Councilmember Bybee was saying. I appreciate what she's saying. I am appreciative of, I'm going to call it the logistics. I think having people represent all the districts is essential. And if something happens and that proportion goes cattywampus, it could be a problem. But I think frankly, if it does, I think we have to address it then. I'm thinking right now that that it makes more sense to go with the 7 and have them as members at large. The regulations that we wrote do allow council to appoint members at large in addition to 1 from each of the 5. So I feel we are following the description of the oversight body correctly. I don't think we're distorting that. That was where my first question was, actually. I was trying to figure out how we were going to do that. So anyway, short version is I'm going to go ahead and support staff recommendation. And Councilmember Lopez?
Yeah, just a brief comment. I appreciate Councilmember Bybee's comments. I actually hadn't done the math or whatever you want to call it of seeing who's in which district and which ones are represented, because I think that there's a value to the community of having commissioners who think of themselves as being at large. We had some of those discussions when we were thinking about the council and districts. And I do think that that would add value if they can play that role and put themselves in those shoes. And so that's kind of how I was thinking and approaching it. And if they could get that guidance, I mean, there's a lot of research on how just playing roles or titles really changes the way you think and approach a problem. So I would hope that there's that approach rather than just being for the at-large members, just thinking about their own neighborhood.
Thank you. With that, Vice Mayor?
Yeah, just a quick comment. I do understand the concern, so it's not that. But I look at the attrition, for example, what we had on the GPAC, and I just see the same thing happening because the longer you prolong the process, more people drop out. I think we're going to lose one or two just because we lose one or two. And I'd rather have the people participating already involved as a full member. That's just why I'm inclined that way.
I just have a question for clarification. What's the process if that does happen? If there is attrition, does it stay, for example, 6-member committee, or do we then have to recruit?
Well, there needs to be at least the one per district. And so if we were to go below a one per district, then we would go out again to recruit. We would just go through the process. It would again come to a council. This particular group, there's a chance that they would only meet the 1 to 2 times per year. So if we were to house a person, there should be the time to recruit to fill the spot. The two additional people who are at large can also be put into the district roles as well, so that we don't need to go through the recruitment as well.
So I'm just going to offer that paragraph 5.6 covers vacancies. And it says the city shall make best efforts to fill vacancies within 90 days. Members whose terms have expired may continue to serve on the committee until their successor has been appointed. In the event that the city is unable to appoint members meeting the criteria listed in 5.1, the committee may proceed with one or more vacancies. So I think the regulation covers the situation. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you as well.
Mhm.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. And if there are no other questions, Chair will accept a motion.
Sure.
Vice Mayor?
I'll move that the city council approve the recommendations of the city manager and the finance director to appoint 7 applicants to the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee for Measure O, each for a 3-year term.
Second,
We have a motion by Vice Mayor Resnikoff, a second by Councilwoman Landry. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Bybee,
No.
Councilwoman Landry,
yes.
Councilmember Lopez,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Resnikoff,
Aye.
Mayor Gibbons.
Aye. Thank you. And also my appreciation, as has been expressed by our council, for those who applied. And we look forward to having you represent our districts and our city at large. Thank you very much and welcome.
Thank you.
We will now move on to unfinished business, and there is no unfinished business on this agenda. So we will go to council committee reports. We actually might get some council committee reports tonight. All right, and we will see some slides for the council committee reports. Thank you. And we will begin with Councilmember Bybee.
And I have no report.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilwoman Landry.
Yes, thank you. Let's see, so I attended the County Library JPA Board of Directors meeting on Thursday of last week. Glowing report, wonderful progress. I was amazed at how many people they served during the pandemic when they didn't have a building open, and they continued to serve a lot of people through the satellite office, satellite facility that they have at the community center. Liz and I, the mayor and I also participated in the Economic Development Subcommittee. We had a lot of discussion about how do we move forward, what's the best way to tackle economic development. And what we had asked for is a review of where we are receiving income at this point, where sales tax are, where businesses are, what kind of businesses. And we're going to have another committee in 2 weeks to receive that information. On Wednesday of last week, I chaired the Recycling and Waste Reduction Committee for the county. A lot of time discussing SB 1383 and its implementation. And for those of you who keep hearing about me talk about trash enclosures, I felt it interesting. We had a whole presentation on the size of trash enclosures and how small they really are and how much bigger trash enclosures are going to have to be when we start recycling food scraps. And the mayor mentioned that under her announcements in the beginning. Also, the Santa Clara Valley Water District met last week. And that was a tag on to the Drought Summit that was held a week ago Saturday. The Water District presents a lot of information about the drought and conserving water. Some of the slides that are being shown right now are from the Drought Summit that both the mayor and I attended. And it was quite a cross-section of elected officials, business leaders, water retailers, and environmentalists. From this chart, you can see that half of all our water goes to homes, and the larger percentage of that goes to outdoor landscaping and watering. Next slide. These were the key responses of action. The biggest one was we had asked for common nomenclature to have us all be talking the same way. During the summit, one person was talking about water management and someone else was talking about urban water management, and it's really all the same thing. We want to have increased conservation messaging and ensure adequate recharge to South County. And I'll just brag a little about Campbell. We have the best percolation areas within the whole entire county, and this is where the water recharges our aquifers. And we will continue to have updates. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have Councilmember Lopez.
No committee meetings this time, but I did want to mention that I had the pleasure of serving as a judge for Campbell Union School District's first annual Pitch Fest, along with Ken Johnson of the Campbell Chamber and other local folks, and heard from 8 amazing teams. The Campbell schools that were represented were CSI, Rosemary, and Castlemont, I believe. And it was educators presenting innovative ideas. And at the end, we as the judges awarded each of them up to $10,000 for a grant. So very exciting work going on in our communities, and just the passion of these educators was just so inspiring.
Thank you. Exciting. And Vice Mayor Resnick.
No meetings in the past 2 weeks. This week, though, there will be the Clean Water JPA and the Solid Waste Authority JPA. None since our last meeting, though.
Thank you. Sometimes it seems like they're all on top of each other, and then sometimes they're not. And for myself, thank you. I'm gonna blow that, make that a little bit bigger there. So there was the West Valley Mayors and Managers meeting this past week. We had two guest speakers. One was Senator Cortese talking about legislation. And we had a lengthy conversation about SB 9. We're hoping that what he said is accurate because he was much more optimistic than the rest of us. And we also had District Attorney Rosen presenting some updates on crime and crime statistics and commenting that it's easy to get distorted when you read things like on Nextdoor. Many situations are in fact way better than they have been. There have been upticks in what they call personal crimes, the car break-ins and package thefts and bicycle thefts. And that is a challenge, as we all know. And then there was the Ainsley Board meeting mentioning that there's the final jazz concert on November 14th. Sunday afternoon, and they had a great one during Oktoberfest. It was a great jazz concert with over 150 people. And because it was outside, they had a large audience and very well received. They are also going to be beginning the Christmas events. The house will be decorated and tours will be available along with Christmas teas and Santa. So some new things are being, or some old things are being renewed. We're looking forward to that. I attended the CERT graduation along with Chief Berg. This was the first CERT graduation since February of 2020. It was the first class that had training all virtually except for the final exam where they had life like dummies. They didn't have to have real people. They had all of the dummies, which was great. It was the first time that the program was entirely taught by Campbell trainers, and it was the first time that the entire program was prepared by Campbell CERT members. So quite a significant achievement. And the county fire department was very impressed, and everyone was very excited about working with Campbell Police Department to continue the benefits of being a CERT member. So please check out Campbell CERT. And they are looking for young members as well. So don't hesitate to come and check it out at whatever your age. As I mentioned, the ABAG MTC joint meeting approved Plan 2050. And then there was a special council meeting in the last 2 weeks. Economic development program was mentioned by Councilwoman Landry. The drought summit was also mentioned. We broke off into rooms, and in my room was a very interesting discussion from the Sierra Club, saying that they were looking for a common ordinance across all Santa Clara cities. And in fact, we're pretty close to that because of 2015. And it was interesting that they didn't have a summary of understanding the common starting point. But what also came out of it was a real confusion, just like you said also, on terms. What exactly is the 15% we're talking about? And we'd have a presentation here a few months ago about what that 15% is. And frankly, it is completely confusing. And so I did work with Linda Lazat, our District 4 Valley Water representative, who gave me the contact for San Jose Water, and they are going to provide to us a table of water expenditures from 2013 to date, broken up between residential and commercial, so that we can really see what the pattern is and what is really being accomplished. The San Jose Water Company representative explained, and it's similar to what staff said, but frankly, I understood it a little bit better, was it is a 15% reduction from 2019. And what's confusing is our ordinances and our steps relate to 2013 or 15, 2013. So what they're looking for, what I was trying to find out is when they're going to impose the penalty on our ratepayers. And the answer is they're going to make generic assumptions on a family of 4, and they're going to do it across the county, and then see and impose it if someone is exceeding that. So that should help a little bit understanding where our bills are going to go and whether we're going to be subject to penalties. And I'll report more when I have the data and understanding of it. The main thing, as you said, was the outdoor watering. The one thing that the group I was in also said is, can you be specific on what it is we can do? I mean, like if you, somebody gave some good examples and I'm drawing a blank right now. And said, if you run your hose for 5 minutes, that will be 100 gallons. If you run your hose for, or if you wash your car for half an hour, even with the hose block, that will take another 100 gallons. They're trying to find a way for people to mentally understand their water usage. So I think if they come out with something specific rather than just say, don't water your lawn or something else, I think it'll be much more helpful and it'll be common across everybody's understanding. So we'll see. That's what I took away from the drought summit. And finally, I would like to call people's attention to redistricting. We're doing redistricting here in Campbell. Hopefully, all of you are engaged in that process and looking at the maps and information. But also, there are other significant changes coming to redistricting, which is the county supervisor districts. We have 5 county districts. There are 5 maps being proposed. Actually, tonight was the first time there was a joint meeting with the Board of Supervisors and the Redistricting Commission made up of residents. And the changes proposed for the districts is significant. Every one of the 5 is significant. Campbell is impacted by each of the 5, one less so than others, but all of them quite significant. In some, Campbell gets connected with Los Gatos, Saratoga, Montecito, and Cupertino. In some others, we stay more or less the way we are with Santa Clara and Campbell and 3 San Jose districts. And then there's variations all the way through. It's, and they have to make their decision, I think, by the 19th of November. So that's because there are primary elections in the spring. So I do have, and I will provide to the city clerk and the city manager the links that are the best information. I will tell you, I spent hours trying to understand the diagrams. They are very, very complicated. The second set of redistricting is the congressional ones. And the congressional ones serve as the basis, or however that's worked, for the state Senate and state assembly. The congressional redistricting looked to be somewhat okay for us. It's substantive changes for others, but somewhat okay for Campbell. My goal in all of these was, and I've written letters to the various commissions, that Campbell needs to stay whole. We don't want Campbell divided into different jurisdictions or electoral kinds of things. We need to have a representative for us as a community. But the assembly districts are all over the place. Tremendous changes in the assembly districts, some substantive changes in the Senate districts. So I encourage people, it's kind of late in the game, but I encourage people to pay attention and make comments about redistricting, because it's us, our future for the next 10 years. So it's a big deal. And with that, if there's no other comments from anyone, we will adjourn this meeting. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for your work and effort and successes this evening. And we will see you in 2 weeks on November 17th. 16th, November 16th. Thank you all.